Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today we're going to be doing something that is a little bit different from the usual video, and that is I'm going to be taking a look at a Kickstarter project. Now, right before I get into the video, I do want to mention that there is some construction going on outside, so you might hear some loud noises here or there. I will do my best to try and filter everything out as much as I can, but of course some things might slip through here or there. So if you hear like a loud noise, that is why. But let's get into the video. So Dawngate, the revival project, is what I'm going to be talking about today. And if you've been playing MOBAs for a very long time, if you've been playing it for about 6 years at this point, then you might have heard about this game before. Dawngate was a MOBA that was being developed by EA Games way back in the day, but got shut down about 5-6 years ago because they just didn't really have the player base that they expected to have. Of course, back then Dota 2, League of Legends were getting very popular, and EA wanted a slice of that pie as well. So they tried to get their foot into the MOBA market with Dawngate, but it didn't really take off as much as they wanted, so they decided to basically shut it down. And because of that, a lot of players were left wanting more, because it had a pretty decent player base. I think there were about like 400,000 players or something like that. And because of that, there were 3 revival projects that kind of came out of the woodworks, and the biggest one of that would be Shrine of Imanna. Eventually all of those 3 projects kind of joined together to go work on Shrine of Imanna. And that is exactly what this Kickstarter is for. Now, they are going to be trying to get licensing for the original title of Dawngate from EA Games itself. If they can't get that, then they will continue to work under the name of Shrine of Imanna. Now, if you don't know what Dawngate is, then I'm basically going to be trying to explain it a little bit, because it is a relatively unique MOBA and is one of the reasons why back then at least it was my favorite MOBA out there. Now, just like any other MOBA, it is a 5v5. You would be controlling characters called Shapers. These are basically the heroes or the champions of Dawngate. And then you would try to attack the enemy's Spirit Guardian. This is basically the Nexus, the Ancient, whatever you want to call it. But it kind of works a little bit more like Smite, where your Nexus is an actual living creature that is trying to defend itself. And you would try to basically kill that thing in the end. Really cool system. Now, when it came down to all of the other things, there were a couple of other unique things about this game. The first thing would be the Spirit Wells. So when it comes down to the map is very different, because it only has 2 lanes, a giant jungle, and inside of this jungle there would be 4 Spirit Wells, each team controlling 2 at the start of the game. Now, you would not be able to capture these just yet. It would take 15 minutes before they would unlock, and once they unlocked, the enemy team would be able to come capture your Spirit Well, or you would be able to capture the enemy's Spirit Well as well. So you would not just be trying to defend your towers in the game, but you would also be trying to defend these Spirit Wells. Now, these workers, because there's basically workers on these Spirit Wells, you can kind of compare this to like a real-time strategy game like StarCraft, where it is a base that is mining minerals or something like that. Now, these workers would basically be the ones giving you the passive gold income. Usually in MOBAs you have a passive gold income, and basically in Dawngate it would come from these Spirit Wells and all of the workers that are gathering the gold for you. Now, you can just walk up to these Spirit Wells and start killing the enemies Spirit Well workers, and thus basically limit their passive gold income. And then, as I said, at 15 minutes they would unlock, and you would be able to capture it for your own team, thus increasing your own personal gold income as well. Then, of course, in the 2 lanes, we would have a couple of towers that you have to kill if you want to go to the base. And then in the middle of the map, you have basically what is the alternative of Roshan from Dota, or the Baron from League of Legends, which would be called the Parasite, which is the big boss monster in the middle of the map. So that's kind of how it worked. Now, the really cool thing about Dawngate is that depending on which role you chose, you are going to be playing differently on the map itself. And you would like play differently in lane as well. So like, for example, in League of Legends, you have your top laner, your mid laner, your jungler, bottom laner, and then your support. But they all pretty much gain gold in the same way, and that is killing enemy creeps or enemy minions. Except for your support, because they have like a support item that gives them passive gold income. But for the most part, you would gain gold by just last hitting minions or last hitting jungle creeps when it comes down to the jungler. When it comes down to Dawngate though, it is a little bit different, because you had to choose 1 out of 4 roles at the start of the game, and that would decide what you were going to be doing in the game itself when it comes down to how you play in lane or how you play on the map itself. So there are 4 different roles. We have the Gladiator. These people gain bonus gold from last hitting lane minions, basically what you're used to from stuff like Dota 2, League of Legends. we have the Tactician, and these people would get bonus gold for harassing enemy shapers, as well as gain bonus gold for lane minions dying that were nearby you. So this is basically kind of like your supportive style, like shaper, but you would still gain gold from just harassing enemies as well, which was really cool and was definitely my favorite one to play. We have the Predator. This one will gain bonus gold from killing enemies, so you really want to play aggressive with this one. And you would also gain bonus gold from killing workers at these spirit wells. So these would actually actively go out on the map to try and make kills happen, but also to try and harass the enemy spirit wells to limit the gold income for the enemy team. And then last but not least, we have the Hunters, which are the junglers from this game, so they gain bonus gold from killing jungle creeps, and they would also deal bonus damage and heal from those jungle creeps as well. So those were the 4 different roles. You would choose one at the start of the game, and then you would basically play towards that role. Of course, there were still certain shapers that were better at jungling than others, some shapers that were better at playing Tactician than others because they had more harass tools or something like that. But it would basically allow you to play the game in the way that you would like to play it, rather than being forced in a specific role. Like for example, when you play League of Legends, oh yeah, that character is usually played as an ADC because in a 1v1 scenario they can't really win. Or for example, this one is like a jungler and you can't really play it that well in lane. Those kind of things. In Dawngate, you just chose what you wanted to do at the start of the game and then you would play that role. So because of that, it was very unique, it was very fun for me to play, as you would also not necessarily have that one gimped person on your team. Usually your support doesn't have as many items as your other 4 core players, and it would kind of feel like you were the weak one in the team from time to time. Now, of course, in different MOBAs this might not be as bad, like for example League of Legends has the support item which generates passively gold for you, but for example in Dota 2, your supports are usually pretty far behind in items when you compare it to your carries or your other farmers, so to speak. Whereas in Dawngate you didn't really have that, as everybody was generating gold for themselves depending on which role you selected at the start of the game. So it was really cool to see, it was really fun to play. It's really unfortunate that the game got shut down eventually, but I'm really excited to see that there are still some people working on this. The project of Shrine of Imanna has been in the works for about 3 years now at this point. In the Kickstarter themselves, they also said that they're about 60% done with reviving the game, so hopefully they're going to be able to just get it done in the next few years. They're estimating a launch date of October 2024, but of course that can change depending on whether or not they get a lot of backing, and they might be able to like hire some extra workers or something like that. But yeah, basically this is kind of what they are working with at the moment. Dawngate is a game that I have very fond memories of and that I would definitely like to play again, as it was my favorite MOBA to play back then, and I would definitely be curious to see how it basically holds up to what the modern MOBA genre is all about, from like how it still holds up against Dota 2, League of Legends, as those are still the 2 titans out there when it comes down to the MOBA genre. But I think it had a lot of cool things going for itself, it had a lot of uniqueness to it as well, and I'd definitely be interested in trying it out again. So I'll leave the Kickstarter link in the description down below if you want to go check it out as well, if you want to go read through everything that Dawngate was and what they are basically going to be doing with it, and what they are also wanting to be doing when they are done with rebuilding Dawngate, because it doesn't just end with making a one-on-one copy of what was there when Dawngate got shut down. They also want to look towards the future and maybe add some new content to the game as well. They've already made their Kickstarter goal of $50,000. They've almost got double the amount of money at this point, but of course because they are already over the backer tier that they wanted, they are going to be introducing some stretch goals and adding to that as well. So I'm definitely curious to see what they are going to be doing and kind of how it ends up. Now I'm definitely going to be jumping into it. There is a pre-alpha game key that you can obtain by being a backer, which I am basically going to be going for, because I would like to get my hands on this game sooner rather than later again, as this just makes me very excited about it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about Dawngate. Very excited to see it make its return, very excited to see us being able to support the creators as well, that's always a good thing. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.